Good afternoon, it's Tuesday the 21st of November. It's just gone 1:30 and I'm back on a different stretch of river today in the search for a few chub or barbel. I've picked this swim at the end of the fishery here. There's a nice run of fast water coming down off of some gravel and continuing on downstream from me. So I've got 11-foot rod, 4-pound line straight through at the moment. Don't think I'll need any heavier here. It's fairly snag free. Large chubber float, taking a couple of swan, and we're going to give it a bit of a go. I've brought maggots with me today because I've not fished at this stretch before, and I thought they're probably the better all-round bait. Anyway, I'm going to trundle a float down a few times first, just see what the depth's like. It's going down there a treat, that is. It's a little bit better than the other day when it's just, this is pulling line off of the centre pin. Might just want to up the depth a little bit on this. It's quite boily actually here. It's I may change the chubber over in a bit to a different float, but we'll start with this and we'll see how we get on. Right, anyway, let's up that float a bit. What I normally do is I put the hook at the butt of the rod, see how many rod rings I am. In this case it was at 2, I've moved it up to 3. And when I've unhooked myself, I'll send this back down the river. Hopefully. I won't go straight into the main flow at the moment. I'm going to try and get it to just go down the crease on the inside here. That's a little bit too deep just there. Move that down an inch or two. Should be about right. At the time I'm just holding back on it now. With a bit of finger pressure on the drum, that should be about perfect. And I'm just going to start feeding this swim now. Right, that should do me. Let's get fishing. I'll start with a couple on a size 14. Some small little dibs on the float. I said I know there's chub and barbel in this stretch, but I've not fished it before, but there's certainly plenty of flow on it today. Half a dozen out. Obviously a few little fish here because I'm as I said, I'm getting a few little dibs on the float, nothing really positive. Just slow it down a little bit as it gets further down. Make that bait swing forward. So as it's going down the swim, what you actually have is the float at the top, and then you get the bow of line is like that as it's going down with the bait dragging along the bottom. And when you just put your finger on the spool and stop it, the maggots and that swing forward, and that's what often induces a bite. Yeah, they've had a little bit of a chew at the maggots. I'm just going to move one of these shot down a moment. Keep feeding. Might change the float over in a moment to a different colour top. This green's a bit difficult to pick out. Oh, that's nice. Yes, here we are. Our first fish. It's not a big one, but it's our first fish nonetheless. It's a nice little chub. Bigger chub. That's better. Right, nice little chub. It's a good thing about standing in the water, it's good for washing your hands off. Let's see if we can get his big brother. I just thought I'd have myself an hour on here. What I've actually done is I've come over to check these sections of river, because as I said, I haven't fished them before, and I really just came for a look today, but I brought a rod and that with me just in case I fancied having a go. As I said, I know there is some reasonable chub in here, and there is also some good barbel, but I've seen one swim a bit further up that I perhaps fancy for the barbel. But I'll walk the length of it first of all, and thought I'd give it a bit of a go. Move that bulk shot down a bit. So the thing about trotting on rivers and that is that keep adjusting and keep making refinements until you get the float going down and you get the bait travelling at the either along the bottom or higher up in the water where you want it, where the fish tend to be taking the bait. So drop that in and just get underway. Just ease it through this first part, because there does seem to be a few fish here, even if they are a bit small. Just trying to get it to come down the crease between the quiet water on the inside and the faster water in the middle. Yep, here we are. Oh. Got away. I was just holding it back right at the end there. Perhaps 3 maggots was too much. Bumped it off, whatever it was. I said just drop that in. Let the hook and that swing in front of the float. Bloody insects. And it's pulling line off beautifully off of here, and I'm just every now and then just putting the brakes on a little bit. I said just to make it swing forward every now and again, just slowing it down. Feel the rod top just nodding as it's going down the swim. As a smaller fish are plucking at it. Always keep the line right behind the float is the most important, because otherwise if the line gets to the side and in front it starts to drag and your presentation just becomes so unnatural. I've no idea whether the bigger fish would be laying on here at the moment. I'd have thought they would have been somewhere down towards the tail end of where I'm trotting this float. The sun keeps trying to break out. Hit a rod top up on that first bit through the swim, just stay in contact. Ivan Marks always talked about the sneaky inside swim when he was match fishing could often be worth 50 pound of chub, is how he used to put it, and it was right. You know, over the years it's amazing. That's what I've learned is, whereas always, when I first started off, obviously fish in the main flow to get the float going down and one thing or another, I learnt after a while that the chub more often tend to be in that crease between the slow water and the fast water, and they hang in there and then they swing out into the main current when they see food coming down. And then swing back again so that they conserve energy. It's a lovely trot down here though. I expect it'd actually be quite a decent swim to quiver tip as well. Bit more bait in at the top of the swim there. Ooh. Blimey. Got a bit of an upstream wind just kicked in then and stopped it dead in its tracks when I was trying to cast out. Just missed a bite then, yeah, that was slow. Need quicker reactions than that. Bites are coming up quite high in the swim actually. A lot higher than I expected. I expected the fish to be an awful lot further down. Smaller fish, but they're not, or don't appear to be. Come on float, I'll be much happier if you disappeared. Yeah, right down towards the end of the run there, that was, which is from here probably 40 yards. It's only small, it's not a big one, but when I say small I mean very small. We keep trying for a little bit longer. There we are. Oh, he's been chomped by something. Another handful in. I might get the bait dropper out in a bit and just put the bait dropper in for a little while. Hold that float back a moment. I do enjoy this, I always have. I love to mix up my fishing. We'll change that float over though. Can't see it when it's down in the lighter water. I've changed the float over now from a loafer to a crystal Avon, and they happen to just travel better in the boily water than the chubbers do. The chubbers are better when the water's steady. So we'll give that a go now. See if I can get a slightly better presentation down there. With a match rod and a pound bottom, you'd probably get a shed full from here, but I wouldn't want to fish too light with there being good chub and barbel about. That's better. Float's just sitting that little bit steadier now. Length of the stem's just holding it because it's quite boily, the water is, and with the orange top it's just that little bit easier to pick out. Yeah, I can see that much further down now. Just pulled it into this slacker water a moment just to see if there is anything actually in the slacker part. I don't know how much water the river tends to carry normally, so I should imagine it carries an awful lot more of this, looking at the bank and the fact that we've not had a great deal of rainfall. Pick that up a bit and let that bait swing forward, and then if I lower the rod down it will just speed the float up a little bit through the swim. Yes. Only small again. Must be some bigger ones here somewhere. Lots of lovely small chub though. But I want a bigger one. Mind you, I've got to be honest, if I really wanted a bigger one I'd stay over here until just going into darkness is normally, I find, is the best time for the big chub. Alright. Just put an inch on that float in a moment, just up the depth by an inch, because what I want to do is I want to, if I let it run on its own, I wanted it so that the float would just catch bottom and go under. I want to be able to just keep the thumb pressure on it like now and just ease it through the swim with the bait just scraping along the bottom. So that I'm really slowing it down through the swim, giving the fish a chance to get hold of it. Take a good look and get hold of it. Slow then I was. And then just going to check that depth again. Right, just slide that up about an inch. Feed and cast. You have an awful lot of control. You know, you can let it run through at its own pace, or you can put the brakes on as I'm doing now and slowing it down. Lift the rod up to keep right up in touch with it, and then if you actually drop the rod forward as you take your finger off the reel, the float will speed up back through the swim then. But all important to keep that line behind the float. Just a little bit tricky when it gets down there in the, you've got quite a lot of light water and dark water, and the float just tends to disappear. Yeah. Only small again though. Not only small, getting smaller by the looks of it. Right, this really will have to be my last cast. Time's ticking on, and I do want to have a look at some of the other stretches. It's quite a journey for me, so miss that one. Oh dear. Right, that's going to be it. Right, I'm going to move on and take a look at one of the other stretches now. But if I don't fish while I'm there, this is going to be the end of the vlog. So once again, thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best with your angling.